All right, so we're going to go on to chapter 8, and we're taking a little bit of a different tangent here. The title of chapter 8 is How Much Income Will You Actually Need in Retirement? So the first 7 chapters were were focused on just helping you figure out Social Security. It's so important to understand this. You got to know how the numbers are derived. You get this statement once a year. It looks like they're going to start mailing these out again, which is stupid, but whatever. You're going to get this statement once a year, and you're going to look at it, and you're going to put it to the side saying, I get $19.16 a month, or whatever it is, like like Julie. And you're going to say, okay, but do you have any idea how that's calculated, where those numbers are derived? Any idea at all? And even if you look at your earnings record, it doesn't index it. It says nothing on the statement about indexing. Nothing on the statement that you can actually ascertain very quickly about what happens if you stop working, what happens if you make more, what happens if you make less, what happens. It has nothing, it says nothing along those lines. And you got to know this stuff in order to make a decision about when to retire. Because if you say, I got to make 1916, and you think that means until you're 62, and you retire at 62, you're not going to make 1916. You're going to make less. Maybe that's worth it. Maybe it's not. I don't know. You have to know that yourself. But the way you know that is by knowing this stuff. It's tough at first. Trust me, it is. And then once you do it, just say to yourself, I'm going to do this. And give you some fake numbers to run with. I mean, just use Wanda Worker, the sample statement Social Security Administration has on their website. Just type in ssa.gov, sample Social Security statement. The 4 S's, sample Social Security statement. And you'll see the sample statements for Wanda Worker updated every year. And just start messing around with it. Take 10 minutes. You do that for like 10 minutes a day for 7 days. You'll be smarter than 98% of the financial advisors out there. All right. Now we're taking it different though. Now we're going after the industry as a whole, all right, and all the naysayers, all the doomsdays, all the I'm trying to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Not quite as over the top as sometimes I can be. I'm just trying to be a little bit even keel, but still, it just annoys me. Now we're going to hit it hard. And this is where people can get mad. No other way around that. And I like that because that means I'm doing something. If they don't get mad, they don't care about you. If they get mad, you're flying over the target for sure. All right. So let's start here. We're going to start with how much money do you actually need? How much income will you actually need in retirement? Chapter 8. Here's a quick quiz for you. What do you think the median household income in the U.S. is today in 2019? 30,000, 60,000, 100,000, 125,000. Before I answer that, let me ask you what your income is this year. 30,000, 60,000, 100,000, 125,000. And just remember, my friends, the median, 50% of the people are above and 50% of the people are below. It's not an average. It's literally the right smack dab in the middle. The answer to the first question is around $60,000. That means half the households in the U.S. make more than $60K and half make less. I imagine the vast majority of you reading this book are making somewhere between $40 and $80K a year in household income. And I bet the vast majority of you are going to need to retire on a similar amount. This is what we'll focus on going forward, how a typical American household can retire on that level of income. Now, assume that typical American household made the median amount adjusted for inflation their entire working careers. Also assume they are married, as more people who are in their 60s are married than not. Hard to imagine they'll need a lot more than $60K a year once they retire, no? After all, they've been living on much less than $60K a year during their working careers. In fact, after income tax, FICA, and any contributions to the retirement plan, they are living on about $43K a year. How do I get that? Well, using a tax tool you can find here, which is just my website, we have a married couple, less than 65 years old, making $60K a year in income while working. Their tax burden to include FICA is $11,205. $84.64 to the feds, $27.41 to the state. If you live in Tennessee, subtract the state. Or if you live in Florida or Texas or whatever, New Hampshire. They pay 18.6% of their 7% of their gross income in taxes. Let's say they also have a 401k contributions, and we'll use 10%. So after those contributions, they are down another $6K or so in take-home income. Thus, their $60K gross provides them $43K of actual spending money. Now, we won't get in all the other expenses that come with working too, the commute, the car maintenance, dry cleaning, lunches, etc. But those things do cost money. That will be eliminated once you are no longer working. For this illustration, we'll just say 60K gross leads to 43K net income. Make sense? In the next chapter, we'll revisit how much Social Security will pay for a household that's been making the median income for 35 years. So stay tuned and smash.